Healing Stories. I'm your host, Ellen Line. What you're about to hear is the last episode of Roar Healing Stories Season 1. I started this podcast because as a therapist, it felt really important to share and explore both mine and other people's stories of healing that, of course, many of them involve therapy, but therapy didn't have to be the only thing or the main thing. In our current systems, there aren't enough therapists for everybody out there, and there's not enough sort of traditional mental health capacity to support all the people who need healing. And it's something we all deserve. I'm really proud of how we've gotten to explore so many different ideas about healing and so many different healing paths in this season. I want to be totally transparent that I'm not entirely sure what's next for Roar Healing Stories. I've thought about doing a healing masculinity series and interviewing folks who do that work or have been on journeys of their own around their masculinity. I have a ton of ideas of people I'd like to interview and stories I'd like to tell. And I'm also noticing a shift within me and my work, and I am not yet sure how Roar Healing Stories fits into that, if at all. What I can tell you is that if I do decide to make a season 2, I'll definitely be sharing about it, telling folks about it, and I'm sure it'll be as great as season 1 was. And I hope that you'll stay in touch, and there's going to be some info at the end of the episode about how to do that. If you've been listening to season 1 and you have thoughts or feedback or ideas you'd like to share, I'd love to hear them. The best way to do that is by leaving a comment on Substack or the platform where you're listening. And I look forward to reading your thoughts. And with all of that said, let's dive in. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode. Today, my guest is Alec. Alec and I have been friends for nearly a decade at this point, and I am so excited for y'all to get to hear a bit more of his story. Alec, tell us about yourself.
Who am I? I think that I'm a nerd who gets into things. Lots of different little passions. My wife says I have too many hobbies. She's right. She's always right, right? Um, but but yeah, I think that kind of is me in a nutshell. I'm pretty passionate about technology and Baltimore sports. Even when they always let you down. I was joking with Rachel that you don't have to worry about me ever leaving you because these sports teams just typically let us down, and I keep coming back. So you're much better than that, right? You're not constantly you're not like constantly like not winning the championship. You're very frequently winning the championship, so you're good. Um, but yeah. And what else? I got into photography. I really appreciate that. It's a really soothing hobby. Did some podcasting as well, and yeah, I don't know, just lots of little hobbies. Coffee roasting.
I think that lots of little hobbies is the path to a life well lived. I think the older I get, the more I'm like, everyone just needs lots of little hobbies.
I agree with you. I think it's a way to just like appreciate life and like the limited time we might have on Earth. Like, if you're not enjoying it, then like, what's the point? And sometimes you have to bring your own energy to it, right? Like it doesn't. It's not free, particularly when capitalism is trying to bring us down. Like you have to kind of fight for it.
Yes. Tell us about your healing journey.
Yeah, where to start? I grew up as an only child. I think that's a major descriptor, right? When you talk about healing journeys. Pretty sheltered life for a long time there. Kind of like helicopter parenting. I had a stay-at-home mom, which I think like was a real blessing and curse in a way. I think it's something I wouldn't choose for any of my children or necessarily recommend. I think it's a tough relationship to grow out of, like from the stay-at-home parent perspective, and also just it can, I don't know, maybe I'm just biased, right, because of outcomes, but yeah, I think that's like one major part of it. I kind of started coming out of my shell in high school. Was picked on a lot, as a kid, but like junior and senior year are pretty good. And then like I went to college. I lived on campus. I wasn't far away from home. I've never been far. But I've also was able to like really kind of find myself in college, I think. Made some lifelong friends. I kind of think, like anybody going through college, it's a little bit of a metamorphosis and like finding yourself and shape shifting. And it wasn't like complete after college by any stretch. I don't think anyone's ever totally complete. Um, so left college, started working, and I think like I unfortunately got hit by a train, so to speak. I had a lot of bad events happen in 2015, including losing my dad, which
Mm,
sucked.
yeah.
And I think it just made me have to like grow up fast at that moment. I had more responsibilities I hadn't considered before. And also just it made me like appreciate how fragile life is.
Mm,
And I think it just kind of like turned on my head my outlook on like a lot of things. Like I'm a person that likes to like control things and like perfectionist and like
mm,
whatever. And those impulses are always around still. But at the same time, like sometimes you have to remember like life's too short to like hold on to grudges. So like
mm,
grudges are really hard for me,
mm,
almost to a fault. I'm like, I think it might be time to move on. But at the same time, like, yeah, like it can be complicated, right? There's other scars that are a little bit more deep. Another like little topic that I was thinking about the healing journey is like I grew up heavily involved in the church,
mm,
and I wouldn't consider myself particularly religious. I wouldn't consider myself particularly not religious.
mm,
I would say agnostic's a good term for it. And but like for me, growing up Greek Orthodox, it was my culture and still is. So I
yeah.
think that's a complicated relationship where um, I think the church is like decent, decent
Mhm,
plus as far as like where they stand in today's society. But at the same time, like I was really connected to my family. Like I have a lot of family nearby, and like I've noticed that degrading over time, and it's not great. But I think I was thinking about it. When I grew up, I was the generation that I think started the schisms, for lack of a better word, because we um our parents, like their parents, had just come off the boat, right?
mm, mhm,
And then they like got established, middle
mhm,
class, moved out from like the city of like, Creektown and like where everyone's living near each other and everyone's supporting each other to the suburbs. And then that kind of like fractures a bit because you're not like near each other all the time and you're not like
mhm,
constantly interacting. And then, I grew up, I was really close to my cousins. We used to get together for holidays and birthday parties and things of that nature. I would see them all
mm,
the time.
mm,
But like also the numbers expanded, right? Like
mm.
all these kids had more kids than them,
Yeah.
like in general ratio, and it's just impossible to like you know get everyone together or like keep everyone close. And then like that, like now that we're all older, it's even harder. Like some of us, I was like on the older end of things, so like some of my cousins have like kids now, but like I don't have a great relationship with any of their kids, or like I have a closer relationship with some cousins, like some cousins I'm really close to and still see a
Mhm,
lot, but like actually a lot more close to my friends and their kids than even
mhm,
my family. And like it kind of became untenable to have these 100-person gatherings to do holidays. So everyone kind of fractured there. So like when I grew up, we all did holidays together. Now it's like we might have a couple people come over or whatever, and if they're smaller and it's not the whole family anymore. And I think I like had to like come to terms with that because I just
mhm,
was so used to like the family being close and like wanting to keep the family close. Like I took it upon myself to like
mm,
try and host these larger events, but it
mhm,
the first year I think it went well, and then like it didn't like continue really because
mm.
just people would have other plans. I think it's always tough too with like if I'm if I hold Easter, which is what I usually did.
Yeah.
Sometimes when American Easter, Greek Easter correspond, that like messes up things. But then you lose like the tradition, so to speak. Like not it makes it easier for the next year to say no as well, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that happened. COVID made that happen too a lot. Like I think COVID really
Yeah.
jump started us all doing smaller private events and people like kind of
Yeah.
liking that because it's not as stressful. And I get
Mm,
it. So like I don't know. That was like another thing too. And now it's like kind of redefining family. And I'm a big
mm,
believer in like your chosen family and the people that you choose to spend time with. And like that's kind of been my life now. Like I and also like I don't know. 2016 made the worst of some people come out, and then it's like, oh, I didn't think I thought I knew this person, but maybe I didn't, and like
Yeah.
then you like just have like a lesser relationship with them, and eventually maybe
Mm,
no relationship, and that's okay
mm,
too, I guess.
mm. I feel like there's lots of juicy threads there for us to like sort of. I have questions. I have more questions. What are my questions? Um, I would love to hear a little bit more. And it sounds like there's sort of this really complicated, maybe it's not complicated. It sounds like it potentially complicated interweave between like family, culture, religion, and sort of how your relationship to all of that has shifted and kind of contributed to your healing. And I think like as a person who I feel like I have some religious trauma, I'm like always interested to hear other people's stories and how they have related. So maybe like can we focus on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think what I would best summarize it as is
Yeah.
when I grew up, I like also kind of believed at that time, like, why are all these people just showing up for, Easter, Christmas, or whatever? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
so goofy. Like, why are we doing this? Like, just come or don't come. Like, whatever. And I kind of look down on it. And now I'm like completely that person. And like I get it because
Mm-hmm.
this sounds so bad, but I really kind of feel this way. Like I went, you know, from 5 to 18 or whatever it was, like 13 years. And I
Mm-hmm.
watched the same sitcom like for 13 years, right? Because it like repeats itself. That's like the whole point. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm good with this. Like I know the rhythm, I know the beats. And
Mm-hmm.
like I just like couldn't convince myself that like spending time each Sunday like praying or worshiping was like necessary to living like a good Christian life. Like I just like you couldn't convince me, right? And
Yeah.
like once I kind of have that in my head, like it's a rot. Like it's just like, okay, um, I don't think I need to do this. But you know what I do miss and what I think about and what I think might like change the story. Not change, but like now that I have a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
I I want her to experience a lot of that too. Like I some of my best friends are from the church and that community. And
Mm-hmm.
like I really appreciate, like I said, the culture that brings, because that's the
Mm-hmm.
epicenter of all the culture and everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
and like a lot of my cousins have kids that are going to church more often because like they're of age to go to Sunday school and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think the way I look at it is like I will return to the church and like be like there more often because my daughter will like, have those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And if she rejects it, I guess that's something I'll work through, and I'll be probably fine with it. Like I'll get it more than like maybe my parents would have. But I never rejected it at that time for what it's worth. Like I looked forward to it
Yeah.
because I have so many friends there. And like
Yeah.
that's like I mean, frankly, like I don't think people shouldn't kid themselves. I think that's like 75% of people who go in church are there for the social aspect.
Oh yeah.
And that's completely fine.
Yeah.
um, so I think like I'll go back. I think church was like forever ruined for me too, because once I was like 13 or so, I was an altar boy and like was actively like a participant and like doing things and also like not like stuck in a pew. Like I could chat with people in the back. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
we were like having a good old time. Like I kind of like went back to that like more community part like earlier on.
Yeah.
And like now it's like I don't want to sit through the whole service not doing anything. So maybe I would join the choir because like I just like I can't like imagine like not I don't know. I'm not good at just sitting still for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Also, the services are so long. I've
Yeah.
heard of like some churches kind of streamlining these things. I was like, we should look into this. um, but yeah, like I think it's just tough too. Like you think about activities with your kid, and like you have to like if you're gonna do the church thing, you kind of have to commit the Sunday mornings, and like that can be tricky. Like some other like sports activities, like I was like not even aware of per se, but like I wasn't even aware of the things like the alternative paths, for lack of better words, that you could be doing.
Mhm.
So I think it will be something I have to weigh out like as time goes on and see how Catherine responds and what she's interested in and like what like how the timing needs to work out.
Yeah.
So but yeah, like I think that's something that's kind of funny, right? Like I grew up thinking like, oh, you got to go. Like if you're not going all the time, just don't bother. And now I'm
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, like that's completely fine. You do you. Who am I to judge?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's sort of similar. My family was very judgy of the people who like weren't in church every Sunday. Like that was how you got to be a good Christian. And if you didn't go, it was a problem. And now as an adult, like I've in the past year or so started going back to church and it's just like so liberating to not like if I don't feel like it, I don't go. And that feels like exactly where I want to be in terms of like religion or spirituality, right? Like it
Yeah,
should be a thing that like fits into my life and helps me be a better person, but in ways that work for me, not in ways that feel like very shamey or judgy.
correct. And the Greeks love the shame. One thing I heard recently, which I thought was like so telling, is
Mm.
you could if you like so basically like one Ravens player wasn't doing well and clips on social media were going around of like one bad play, right?
Huh.
And it's like, you see that clip of the one bad play, it doesn't make you a bad player. Similarly, having one clip of you going to church doesn't make you a good Christian. you know, like 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 I was like, oh, that's a good comeback, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it's so true, right? Like and frankly, it's funny, right? Like some of the people at the church, I'm like, yeah, you're not that great. Like, you know
Oh.
what I mean? Like, you should be maybe listen a little bit more closely.
I think there's like a flip to that too, which is like one mistake, like the idea of like one mistake, one bad play doesn't make you a bad player. Like one mistake doesn't make you a bad person, or one
Right.
project that's a little less than perfect doesn't mean you shouldn't ever do that thing again, right? And I think that I'm making a connection between this and perfectionism, which you said is something that you have had to do
Mhm.
some work around. I'd love to hear more about that.
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, like, hey, I guess I'm on the best. My healing journey was doing a podcast. So I like identified as somebody who was going to like meticulously edit each show and take out any ums and ahs and like better clean up the flow and remove like make us sound like geniuses, you
Oh,
know? And I was like working my butt off doing these like 2 hour edits of a 1 hour show. And
wow.
eventually I got faster and like the software had some, nice tweaks. Like I could listen to 2x, which made me do it faster and things of that nature.
Mm.
But I was like doing these high touch edits and like for who? you know, like no one cared. No one cared. Literally no one knew. And like no one cared except for me. And then I realized like spending way too much time on this. This is not sustainable.
Mm.
Um, so I let go and I let go more and more. And now I just don't do the podcast because that's not like I did that more so because me and my other co-hosts were just kind of done. Like we were just,
Mm.
we had other things more important in life
Mm.
at that moment. So we stopped doing it. But yeah, like that last season, I didn't even want to do it. Like I mean, I told him I thought the year before was my last season, and then
Wow.
that we kind of like entropied to doing it one more time. And then other
Mm.
co-host at the end was like, "Yeah, I'm done," and I was like, "Hallelujah, that's two, the majority." Because I just couldn't like it just was tough. It's tough to show up every day. And one of the things like I live by and I still somewhat live by is like if I'm gonna do something, I want to do it right. And like it's better to do something like do it well than just not or just not do it at all.
Mm.
And like I think it's kind of liberating too. Like in life, I've realized like there's certain things that you just don't have to do. Right.
Mm.
Like
Yes.
there's no like as long as you're cool with it, right? Like, like there's no like I don't have to make my bed every day. Like no one's making me, right? Like literally no one. No one's even gonna see it except for me and my partner. And if my partner's cool with it, like
Yeah.
it's fine. And I I kind of like knew that growing up too. Like
Mm.
I was a stickler about like not cleaning up my room because I was like, I'm just gonna like this is meant to be lived in, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like I'm not here to like, be on HGTV. I'm here to live. Uh and yeah, like I think that's it's kind of liberating. But yeah, there's certain projects like I just won't take on. Like one of the things that was like sort of traumatizing recently is like a past Alec DJ'd and um one of those people that like heard me DJ back in the early, I don't know, mid tens or
Uh-huh.
whatever, were like, "Hey, I'm getting married. I want you to DJ my wedding in like 2024." And I'm like, "You're crazy." Like I have a daughter now. I haven't I haven't DJed since the Obama administration. Like, what are we
Mm.
doing here? Are we sure that you want me to do this? But I was like, I had a hard time saying no. And then I was like traumatized, being like, I'm not gonna do a good job. Like, this is not
Mm.
gonna be good. And I'm like so nervous about it. And it made me a mess. I don't like being in a mess. It's not good for anyone in my life.
Yeah.
And I did it. It was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It passed. Like the vibes were fine. And like, but me and my wife both agree I should not do it anymore. you know, because it's like I just don't do that anymore. Like it's not who I
Yeah.
am anymore. And it's like it's just hard. Like I don't want to let people down. Like one thing I will do. Like I've gotten more confident in photography, and it's like, okay, you want me to do like a family photo shoot? You got it, like easy. You
Mm,
know, you want me to do your wedding? Ooh, I wouldn't necessarily do a wedding because I've never done one
mm,
before. Other than like random thing, like I wasn't the primary photographer. I would do a second shoot of a wedding all day long, but I wouldn't want to be primary. That'd be too stressful. You know, kind of going back to like it's just like it's not what I do.
yeah,
And that's okay.
yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. And there's just other things too. Like sometimes I take shortcuts now when I'm cooking dinner because like I've got a screaming daughter who really wants to eat, and like that's fine, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, and like things like that.
yeah.
My lawn isn't immaculate. I sometimes cut it over the course of several days. Like
Yes.
it is what it is.
Yes. The thing that is popping into my mind right now is sort of the spectrum, or maybe there's like this like space of exploration. Like it is not bad to take pride in your work and to want to do a good job with things, and to want, like, if you're going to commit to something, to do it well. And so like all of that is great. And then there's like, but it's not that too much further before it's like, but I'm like giving myself panic attacks because I
Right.
messed this thing up, or I'm like, I sent myself into like a shame spiral because I forgot to do something, or
Yeah, yeah.
because it didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted it to. And I'm not really sure what my
Yeah.
thoughts are about that. I don't know if you have thoughts
Well,
about
it's something like what is enough?
that.
And for everybody that's a little bit different. So
Yeah.
like, for me, for better or worse, right? I'm always
Mhm,
on my bad worst for critic. And like sometimes I
mhm,
make something, like let's say like I make something for dinner and people are
mhm,
losing their minds. Like everyone's like, oh, this is so good, whatever. And I'm like,
mhm.
eh, I've done it better before. Like, or like, I can think of ways this could be better. Like, but like at the same
Yeah,
time, like I am like, yeah, you know what? Like own it, right? Like
yeah,
for instance, just yesterday, work did
yeah.
a chili cook-off. I don't
Oh.
make chili, but I felt inclined to make chili, right? Like I was like, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make ourselves a bomb chili.
Yeah.
And I make this chili. I show up, I get everyone's chili, and I was like, in good conscience, I have to make my own chili. This thing's great. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. But at the
Yeah.
same time, when I was leaving in the morning, after like I tasted in the morning, I was like, you know what? I could have used more of this, more of that, but I don't have those ingredients. Like I ran out, or
Mhm,
whatever. And
mhm.
like I'm already thinking of ways I can improve it for next time. But you know what? It was enough. And
Yeah.
I have that trophy or whatever. like
Yeah.
like like I was like, this is okay. Like and everyone was happy and I was happy too, honestly, because I was like,
Mhm.
just because you can imagine making it 1%, 2%, whatever percent better doesn't mean it's not already great or not already like good enough. And
Yeah.
another like little piece that I heard and it stuck with me, and then like, but like it's become more like true to myself, I guess, over the years is like art is never finished, only abandoned. And like
Mhm.
I think that's like so true. Cause
Yeah.
like for better or worse, I think like a lot of things are art that like people maybe like won't assume is art, like everything's a little bit of like there's like artistry in a lot of things is what I'm getting at. And like, but at the same time, like you gotta just say, like, that's enough. Like I'm moving on to the next thing. And
Mhm.
that can be like literally anything. And
Yeah.
just being okay with that and being okay with it. Like I've done a lot of wedding videos in my life, and I'll watch them and I'll be like, that's enough. Like,
Yeah.
and frankly, like a lot of those times, like I do feel like I've kind of exhausted it or whatever, and I feel like, excuse me, confident that I'm done. Like that's it. This is it. And I don't really know if there's much more for me to do here. I'm much more for me to tweak, like, whatever. And like, then you're done. And I like never open that project again. Right. and, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have there been like moments or experiences, like you mentioned podcasting as one, but like other moments or experiences that have helped you know, like, enough is enough, or this is good enough, or that have given you like the felt sense of that, or helped kind of like hone your perception of that?
I don't know. I'm like, I mean, I'm sure they're plenty.
Yeah.
But I think one thing I'll come back to is just like over time realizing when I'm doing this to myself, right?
Mhm.
Like when I'm putting like no one else is putting these expectations on something except for me.
Yeah.
And like that can be rough for people around you too. That's like one of the biggest reasons I had to like come to terms with this and like learn about it is like maybe
Mhm.
I was being unfair to my wife, right? Like
Mhm.
expecting things that like, that's just not like the way that she would think about things or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Mhm.
not like something she values or something that and that's okay. Like, I don't need to put these like unrealistic expectations on other people
Mhm.
and like assume they can read my mind and like know what I'm
Mhm.
thinking, you know.
Yeah.
Um and I think that's like the biggest thing is like because like you have a splash radius, right? Like your
Mhm.
decisions and stuff have a splash radius and like you have to be mindful of that.
So your relationships and like kind of seeing how some of your perfectionism and like very high expectations was like filtering out to people you love.
Right.
Like
Like I never want her to feel like she's not good enough. Right. And
yeah.
like there's been
Mhm.
times that like that's happened because I'm
Mhm.
we'll never forget the great like powder room incident of 2023 where like Rachel was like slaving on this like accent wall thing with tiles or whatever.
Mhm.
And like I come home and she's like so proud of it. And I was like, that's crooked. We need to fix it. She like that like was so like not great. And like in retrospect, yeah, I did not like come out the right way. But I was also like, it was one of those things where if I have to look at this every day, like I do want to like clean it up, right? Like I
Oh,
do want and like I also like kind of felt bad where I was like, this feels like a two-person job. I would have done it with you. We could have been a great time. And like that was like me learning, right? We just bought the home
yeah.
or whatever. And it was
Mm.
like one of the first projects we did together. And I was like, okay, like I need to like settle down here. Right. Like
Oh,
a lot of hard work has gone into this.
yeah.
And I get that and I appreciate it, frankly. Like
Yeah.
and I need to like not lead with but like it's crooked. Like that's
Yeah.
and like unfortunately like that's where my head is so many times. I have to like self-filter myself of like I'm
Mm.
like always nitpicking things internally, but like
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
external narrator needs to be a little bit more kind because it's not what people want to hear. And you know
Yeah.
what's funny is like and I don't know. It's like a demented thing of mine where I'm like, I'm always looking for criticism. Like nothing will get my respect more than if you criticize me, so to speak. Like I'd be like, I'm like tired of hearing like that I'm good at things. You know what I mean? Like I know the things I'm good at. Like I'm
Mm.
like aware of it or whatever, and I appreciate it. But like I want to know how I can improve. And
Mm.
I think like that's not a realistic expectation of a lot of people, right? Like you,
Yeah.
you can't just like lead with the nitpick. Even though like for me, like I always feel like people are like, puffing me up for no reason, right? Like I think that's
Mm.
like the disconnect is like, oh, you're doing a great job. And I'm like, you think this is a good job? Are you kidding me? I was like, I know what a good job is. This is not it.
Oh,
So it's just like when someone actually is like, you could do this better, I'll be like, thank you. That's something for me to work on. Like I'm always looking for like constructive criticism and things of
mm.
that nature.
Mm.
Um, but like, yeah, I think it's something I have to like correct for in my head. It's like that's not like necessarily normal or like proper or polite. um, so let's work on this.
Mm. Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think something that is standing out to me or I'm appreciating in this moment is I think for me, it was really important in like working on perfectionism to give myself permission to just be bad. Like I started playing tennis and I'm terrible at it.
Mm,
And it's just like it became funny how bad I am.
right.
But I like needed that to sort of have an outlet for like you don't have to be the best at everything all the time. And so I think I'm appreciating like this approach of actually I really want to be good at things. I'm open to like please give me the feedback, please give me the criticism. I want to improve, and that like that can be an okay way of relating to all of this as long as like you said you're able to connect to the places where you already are good enough or the things that you are good at. It's
Yeah.
not this like sort of relentless pursuit that ends up like stressing us out or burning us out, and maybe it does sometimes, but we also get some breaks.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a good call out, and I think I could do some work. I would definitely agree of like being more vulnerable to being bad at things. Right, there
Mm,
are definitely certain things I like probably stray away from because I know like I'm not that great at. But like,
mm,
but I think one thing I've lived on for a long time, and I still think is like a great it's like a life hack, and it's like one thing like if I
mm,
could give this to my daughter, right, like then I
mm.
think this will be like really powerful for her is
Yeah.
like the best way to be correct all the time is when like knowing when you're wrong, right?
Mm,
And like I think that's like one of the biggest like it's like a tent pole of my existence is
mm,
like I would like to be right all the time. Like
mm.
that sounds great. However, like you need to know when you're not right. And you need to like not double down when you're not doing the right thing. Like for instance, right?
Mhm.
For a long time, for too long, I was like trying to basically like, but Rachel, I think it'd be great if we just led with the criticisms. I think that'd be awesome for both of us. We would grow so much. And like, that's not right. I realized
Mhm.
eventually that's not right. Like,
Mhm.
this is not scalable. I can't make the whole world feel this way. And I probably shouldn't start with my
Mhm.
wife, right? So, so like, it's like, okay, just because like you like that doesn't make it like necessarily right. And that's okay. Like, I, and like, I think that's something I've learned to appreciate over time
Mhm.
and like kind of grapple with. And there's been so many times where I get new information and I'm like, okay, like I have changed my belief in that. And then kind of going back
Mhm.
to like healing journey, right?
Mhm.
Is that like I think the take lock was strong growing up. Not necessarily for me, but like I grew up in that environment where
Mhm.
like I grew up in a take lock environment of like this is the truth. Like I will not be convinced otherwise.
Mhm.
And I've learned now that there's like what is truth, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um and I think that's liberating too.
Yeah. I think it's so valuable, like question everything, right? Like everything that we grew up with that we took as fact or we assumed was the right way or the proper way or the way the world worked. And then looking at all of that and being like, wait, but does this actually fit me? Is this actually aligned with my values and who I
Mhm.
am? I think that's such an important part of our healing journey, and not everybody does it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's not easy.
Uh,
It you have to like almost break yourself down and build it back up again piece by piece, like
yeah.
because it can like get to some really like deep core things that you
Yeah.
might like question. Like we were talking earlier about religion, that could be a deep core thing for some people.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just like this like weird like I don't know, maybe spectrumy thing. I was just like always like I get fixated on things and like
Mm.
I get like I'm like very critical and like I just need to like chill out.
Yeah.
And it's been really good. Like I realized how like stressed out I was at all times, like some like
Mhm.
the anxious energy, right? I
Mhm.
was like, oh wait, I'm always anxious, right? Like
Mhm.
I can't acknowledge like I was like, I'm not ever stressed out. It's like, oh no, you're just like always stressed, right? Like and that's like something to come to terms with. So it's been a lot better. Um Therapy's good. Uh
Good. Yeah. So one of the sort of like underlying currents of this podcast is that there are many different ways to heal. And like, yes, therapy is great and meds can be great. But also that maybe there are some like less conventional like healing experiences that we've had. And I'm curious, I mean, we've already talked about a bunch, right? Like your journey with podcasting and
hmm,
with like kind of evaluating how your anxiety is showing up in your relationships, but I'm curious if there are other moments that kind of pop into your mind when we think about unconventional healing moments.
sure. I mean this is not necessarily super unconventional, but like for me,
Mhm.
one of the hobbies I didn't mention because it's like doesn't even feel like a hobby, it's all like a lifestyle is listening to music. And I think
Mhm.
for me like I've attached certain like states of being to different music in a way.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
like I can like summon those records or those tracks, so to
Mhm.
speak, to like get me into a headspace that like I need at that moment. And like it's like a drug almost where you're like, I can't use this all the time. Like, like break glass in case of emergency.
Mm.
But like I think that's one like very soothing thing for me is
Yeah.
like if I'm having a really bad day or something or just I'm frustrated, like it's almost best to like listen to music. And like I think unfortunately slash fortunately I've learned that I think I have like some sort of sensitivity towards noise, like
Mhm.
certain noise really bother me or whatever, or like
Mm.
it gets me anxious or something. So like
Mm.
noise canceling headphones have been like some of the best things ever in my life.
Yeah.
Of like it helps me. Like sometimes I have it just in noise canceling for no other reason than just be like, let's simmer down like the intensity of life, so to speak. And then every once in a while I'm actually listening to something too. Um I think that like that has been helpful for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I think there's certain things I lean on
Yeah.
when, like I guess everyone like has a vice, right, so to speak. And
Mm,
if you're anxious or you're having a bad day, like what is it that you lean on? I hope that they're like relatively healthy things that aren't impacting other people, right? Like listening to
mm,
music and things that go good on. Sometimes when I'm
mm,
having a bad day, I just want to like sit down and like either like direct opposites. It's either I want to like make a good meal for everyone to enjoy, like this will be the
mm.
reset moment, or we're gonna take out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like having these like reset moments is really helpful.
I love that. I think sometimes we think about healing in terms of, oh, I went to therapy because of X, or like, oh, I had this moment and it really helped me heal, right? But I think healing can also be this, it's like it happens in the mundane and the daily, right? Like it's the way that we learn how to take care of ourselves over time that allows us to sort of live our best lives. And isn't that healing just as much as, oh yeah, I went to therapy and worked on my perfectionism, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, totally. Like you have to like find out like what works for you.
Yeah.
Like I think like one of the problems I've run into too is, and like I have no problem sitting back and relaxing. Just ask my wife. It's like almost to a fault. Or like I have to relax in order to do things, and she needs to get
Mm,
things done in order to relax. This can cause strife
mm,
sometimes, but we're figuring it out. Um, and like but I've learned like that's important for me. Like it's
yeah,
important for me to like take a moment if I like can, like maybe even like have to like fight for it, so to speak. Like I'm like I need this moment to like be with you in the like in the near future or whatever, right? Like
yeah.
I know like when I need to like take a moment for myself in order to be the best self for the rest of the day kind of thing. And like
Mm,
when you need to
yeah.
recharge. And I think like honestly being selfish about that and protecting it is important because
Mhm.
without it, like then you just get into the death spiral that we were kind
Yeah,
of talking about of like you're not your best self, things get worse, like it's just like not actually good in the long term. And for me, like it can be like as simple as 5 minutes, like I just like
yeah,
I need 5 minutes and then I'll be present, you know what I mean?
yeah.
um and I think that's like something that I've grown on and learned about.
Love that. So, tender question. We totally don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but if you're
Mm.
open to it, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about your dad passing and like how that you mentioned that it had a big
Oh
impact on you
yeah.
and sort of kicked some of this off. And so I'd love to hear more about that if you're open to sharing.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, it's totally fine. It's funny, like it was a multi-year situation where
yeah.
he got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer when I was
Mm,
graduating high school, and that's a bad one, right?
yeah.
And good news is he didn't have pancreatic cancer. The bad news is he had the same surgery you would have if you did, and it's not a great surgery. It's one of those things where like you do it because you have a really bad outcome, and it gives you a slightly better outcome. Like this, like
Yeah.
maybe like you have no years to live, and now maybe you have 10 or 15, right?
Yeah.
And like we didn't know that until after the fact. And
Mhm.
like it had some like I think that started a spiral of bad things. Maybe not entirely,
Mm,
right? But like it put him a little bit behind the eight ball. It wasn't ideal,
mm,
right?
mhm,
Um he healed. He was better for a bit there, but then he started having other issues.
mm,
So like this is like a 5-year process.
mhm,
Um and he had like this weird like autoimmune problem,
mm,
and he was having like I always get it kind of mixed up a little bit in my head, but like there was like kidney issues and liver issues, but like he wasn't ever quite healthy enough to like start doing the things that he needed to do for those other issues. That's something I learned about. Like it's like, oh, like if he could get like a transplant, that would be great. But he's not healthy enough for a
mhm,
transplant. We have to get him there. And like, but you're
mhm.
already like behind the eight ball, so you're not going to get there. So I've learned like to get a transplant is a very like narrow sliver of like healthy enough, but also needed enough.
Yeah.
um, and then everyone ever finds that spot. Um, but like, anyways, so and the reason I brought this up like before the show of like, oh, like if we had done this when we originally planned on doing it, and then we had to
Mm,
reschedule, like things were different.
mm,
Um, he had these like series of unfortunate events in 2015 that
mhm,
eventually lead to him passing,
mhm,
where like the details like kind of escape me, but
mhm,
like he he was sick. He had like maybe like a like a urinary tract infection or something, like some sort of infection. He was in
Yeah.
the hospital for it. That cleared up. He's about to get released, and they hear a heart murmur. And they do some tests, and they're like, "We're doing triple bypass surgery in like 30 minutes." So they call us, right? Like this emergency, like heart surgery, because he had like all these clots or like whatever. It was not
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
They call us, and I'll never forget this. It was a great moment in my life. Like it was like, get in the car, mom. I'd like storm down 95, to get to Hopkins.
Oh.
It was kind of fun. Like I've never been so reckless on the road, but like with purpose. You know what I mean? I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like I fantasize. I played enough racing games. I fantasize about this, and like always within moderation. Like I like if I saw like an
Oh.
opening on the highway, I was just hitting it, right? And my mom's like,
Mm.
"You're like a lunatic." And I was like, "Don't worry, we're gonna get there." Because they were like, "Can we see him before the thing?" And they're like, "Only if you get here in 30 minutes or whatever." And like that, it normally takes like 25. Like, and you have to park. You have to park. You have to like walk in, etc.
Yeah.
So like I like a bat out of hell. I got there.
Mm.
We saw him, and he came out like fine, quote unquote. But the problem is like that's a big recovery,
Yeah.
and he's already like had these other issues. So he like was struggling with infections and like
Uh,
the wounds healing and all this stuff.
yeah.
And you saw the ebbs and flows. And this happened like when Rush was touring, which like is my
Mm.
favorite band, but I learned about it from them. And like we're planning on going to see them on this last tour. And
Mm.
like we had already made plans to like go to LA to see the last show. Like we're gonna
Mm.
destination this thing, right?
Yeah.
And this is in like August.
Oh.
And similarly, like we drove up to Toronto. We made some like the bucket list. We knew it was probably the last shows. Spoiler alert, they're like touring next year. Like they announced it this week, right? The drummer had passed. I thought this was over. Like I thought this like part
Yeah.
of my life was completely gone. But
Yeah.
anyways, like we like doing this last ride, and like it was his last ride too. So like, and like I it became more clear as the tour went on. Like, oh,
Yeah.
this is gonna be my final memories of my father is like doing these events. Like,
Wow.
so we like, we went to the Toronto show, and he was
Mhm.
sickly, but like it was cool because we were able to like go and see the Orioles play in Toronto because they happened to be there at the same time, right?
Mm.
So we like did those
Wow.
two events. That was
Yeah.
kind of neat. And then we went to the show, and we went to LA, and we were like at like Disneyland, like pushing him in a wheelchair. Like I
Mm.
remember when we were driving to Toronto, I was holding the IV bag like in the car so he could take his like scheduled IVs
Yeah.
like as high as I could to like for the gravity effect. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah.
Like we're like powering through this. My arm's like about to fall off. We're like, we're gonna do this. Like we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
Um and like unfortunately, like, and it's like I don't think it's not a regret, but it's something I think about is unfortunately, like in um the last show was I think October 2nd, 2020, 2015.
Mm.
Maybe it was first, maybe it was the first. But anyways, doesn't matter. Or August 1st. That show, unfortunately, the final show of Rush was also the day that I knew my dad was dying soon. That's a
Mm.
rough one, right? Because
Yeah.
like, and the reason why is like he didn't stand up to clap. This is not like in his
Um,
character, right?
yeah.
Like he would stand up to clap at the end of the show. I mean, my golly, it's like the literally last show they're ever going to do together. Like
Yeah.
was pretty clear then, and is like obviously clear now. Like it's just one of those things where I was like, you're not going to stand. That's so crazy. And then like I like hit me like a bag of bricks. Like oh yeah, like it's so over. Like
Wow.
and he passed like 3 weeks later, right?
Mm.
So and it's like it like happened like that in a way.
Mm.
Like it was this like long decline, but then like it hit like really fast where I'll never forget this too. He called me
Mm.
in this like very frantic like way of like they're trying to kill me here, like you need to come, like this like
Um,
crazy like lucid like moment or whatever.
yeah.
And the nurse is like, no, 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 we're just getting his medicine. Like he's fine. Sometimes they react this way. Like it's okay.
Mm.
Uh, uh, and but sorry, going back. So he was there partially, not part, like I don't know, somewhat because I was like, I told him after the show, not like immediately after, but like when we were home one day, I was like, he didn't want to go to the hospital. Like he was clearly showing like bad signs again, and he didn't
Mm.
want to go to the hospital. And I was like, Dad, like you either go to the hospital or you die. Like I was like, you need to like, do you still want to fight this thing, or like are you done? Like
Yeah.
and like I don't know. Like I was just like, that's like the handoff you're making. And like I think what he
Yeah.
didn't want to ever say is like, I'm done. And I think it's
Yeah.
okay. Like I mean, like looking back on it, there's a like I thought at that point he was done, right? And
Yeah.
but he didn't want to express it that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just a tough moment where like I was like, the only way you're gonna get better is if you go to the hospital.
Yeah.
You don't want to go, that's your choice, but like that's the only way, like that's that's the 1% outcome. The 0% outcome is just not going at all, right?
Yeah.
So you know, he ended up having to go, right? Because he
Yeah.
fell, he like fainted or fell on something.
Oh.
Um yeah. So he went and he had you know, calls me like at and then the next day, like he's like nonverbal. He kind of like just like completely gone.
Wow.
So that was like one of the last times I heard from him. That kind of sucks. But like at the same time, like, you know, I'll forever cherish everything I had with him. So there's
Yeah.
that, you know. And he
Mm.
made me a better person for sure.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
then Rush decided they wanted to tour again. That reopened all the wounds, and I had a bad day on Monday. And I was like, I
Ah.
didn't like realize how much I conflated like him passing with like this part of my life being done, like that like last ride, that like tour, and just like, you know, enjoying going to see those concerts with him. Like I went to like 20 Rush concerts with them, which
Wow.
is like a huge privilege, and like that was like one of the things we did together. That
Yeah.
was really nice. So like, yeah, I was like, ah, this sucks. Like it's so cool that like I can maybe take Rachel to see this band of mine that I love. You know, the drummer's not there anymore, but we'll get past it. You know, like I you know, it's like, oh, this like that like is a cool thing. I like that. But at the same time, it's like I can't do it with my dad. That kind of sucks. So,
Mm.
you know, that was and like it's funny, like that was what triggered it. Like I
Mm.
got married without my dad. That
Yeah.
sucked, but it didn't hit me the same way, you know, like
Yeah.
um and like I had my first day without my dad. And that sucked, but like it didn't hit me the same way. It was this thinking like silly concert in the future that hasn't even happened yet. And like I'm like thinking to myself, if I'm able to get a ticket to this thing, because there's not many shows, and it's probably gonna be like very, you know, desirable and sought after. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be a mess. I'm just gonna cry the whole time. I guess like that's what we're gonna do, I guess. And I think the other like hard part about like losing your dad is like kind of going back to like with my mom, like she was a stay-at-home mom. What she had was me, and my dad loses my dad, like a total spiral from that, right? And now like all she has is me. That's
Mm.
not like necessarily the best relationship to have to
Mm.
like try to like, you know, find and replace with your son. Because like, you know, I've got other things going on too. And I think that's led to unfortunately a lot of struggles, like particularly as like Rachel and I have gotten closer and like started a family. I think that like create a real struggle of like, well, my priorities are shifting. Like now my priorities are like my wife and my daughter. And like I can't just like do all these things. Like it's not like necessarily fair. And it feels bad. Like there's like definitely some like guilt with that. Like I don't know
Mm.
what the right thing to do is. And it just becomes tough. Like if she like, you know, is resentful or like causes other issues, right? Like, and you're
Mm.
like, well, like you can't like now like lash out on my wife. Like that's not great. So like it just that's been like a real challenge. And like it sucks. Like I wish like that then like my dad didn't pass and like the best version of my mom was still here. But I don't think
Mm.
that's the case. And like
Mm.
having to come to terms with like what that means is tough. And like that's what I'm like, that's what my healing journey is like continuing, right? Is like trying to
Mm.
figure out like what this relationship can look like maybe just coming to terms with the fact that like unfortunately, like that version of my mom might like not come back. And like,
Mm.
yeah, how do we work with that?
There's like the loss of your dad and then also the loss of, what feels like the best version of your other parent. Both
Yeah.
things are really, really hard.
Yeah. And I think like I get like resentful or angry that like
Mm.
she I feel like didn't transit like if I had to choose which parent to like have to like lose their
Mm.
spouse, it would have been my dad. Like I think he would have figured it out.
Mm.
Yeah, for better or worse, right? Like I think he would
Yeah.
have been able to like carry on and like live the rest of his years as best as he could. And
Mm.
I just fear that like that isn't what my mom's doing. And I kind of feel bad for her. Like I don't know. Like I don't know how to fix it though. And I don't know if I
Yeah.
can. And that's really tough, right? Like
Yeah.
again, going back to like wanting to control things and like trying
Yeah.
to like, you know, make good outcomes and being like a perfectionist. It's like I wouldn't choose to do any of these things that you're doing right now.
Yeah.
um and kind of like it's just hard to when I remember when he passed, like I was like, I feel like this is a good thing for you to do. Like you
Mm.
should get a job. Like you should like
Mm.
find purpose in other places, do things like maybe meet somebody, who knows? And she
Mm.
wasn't open to any of it. And
Mm.
like I think that's really been challenging over the last 10 years because like she didn't choose to start that journey when it was like most beneficial for lack of better words,
Mm.
right? And now that she has like gone down, like maybe like let's say she started at 80% health after my dad passed, right?
Yeah.
Like as from like a like vigor to like do things or like have the opportunity, like be in the right mindset to like maybe move on. I think like as time went on, like her ability to move on has gone down almost, right? Like because she's
Mm.
like spiraling, like we kind of talked about earlier, and
Yeah.
that's so hard to watch. And like I just don't know what to do about it, and it's like it's
Mm.
just tough. Like I
Yeah.
we've tried to have conversations, and like I feel like it always gets escalated, and like
Yeah.
and I think like part of me is like I have to like accept her for who she is and like
Mm.
accept her for her choices. But
Mhm.
like I don't know. It's like it's really tough for me. That's I think the hard part is like I'm just like mad that like I was like if you just did these things, like I think it would have been so much better for everybody involved. And like I'm mad that you didn't do these things. I'm pretty sure my dad would have, like kind of going back to
Oh,
like did we lose the wrong one? Like and it just
oh,
like it just sucks. Like that's just like
yeah.
the tough part. But
Yeah.
what you gonna do?
Um, Yeah, you can't, I mean, she is her whole own adult self, and you can't make her ready for something she's not ready for, or to want to do something she doesn't want to do. And I think that it's so hard being like grown children and watching our parents like do these things where it's like, why, but we
Well,
can't do
yeah,
anything about it.
it's tough. I mean, I see it
Yeah.
on all sides, right? I see it with other
Yeah.
friends and their parents with other things. It's always tough. Like, they grew they raised you in their way, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's like one of the hard parts for me is like the
Mhm.
way that like I felt like I was raised, at least like the way my perception of how I was raised, like the those values, those things or whatever are like not like I'm not seeing that now like
Oh,
from my parents, right? Like they're not like being like not being a good example of some of the things that I was taught, and I thought like she did a really good job with. And that's like I don't know,
yeah.
it's tough. Like I think it's like so hard to know like how much to give back, right?
Mhm.
Like it's kind of impossible to pay that debt off, right, of like raising me for 18 years. But at the same time, like I have to be like protective of me, my wife, my kid. Like I don't know. Like it's just
Mhm.
like it's tough. Like I just like I acknowledge that you've done a lot for me, like
Yeah.
like and like I do appreciate all that. I just like
Yeah.
there's certain things like I just like I'm so struggling to deal with, like as far as uh future steps. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do this, or
Mm.
some of the expectations that are there now. And I'm like, I can't like and it just becomes one of those like all or
Mhm.
nothing things. Whereas like if that's your expectation, I can't do that, and like and
Mhm.
therefore I'd have done nothing. And like I feel bad about that too. Like I want to find a middle ground, something we can maybe both agree on. But like she's kind of bringing the same like perfectionist all or nothing mindset. I get it, like we're similar, like like there's definitely like two peas in the pod fighting with each other. So it's just tough.
Yeah.
But like I went to therapy and I think I've grown a little bit. You meet me somewhere? And like I've like offered to do group therapy and stuff, and like she's like, I don't need a
Mhm.
shrink tell me how to live my life. And I was like, oh yeah, you're not ready for therapy. Like that's not at all what it is. uh,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the boomers think, though.
it's tough though. Like I mean,
Yeah.
hey, from her perspective, the thing that she told me is like I've been told my whole life to do this, that, and this, and now I just want to make my own decisions. And I think
Mhm.
like okay, like respect that. That makes a lot of sense. I would also want to make my own decisions. Like
Mhm.
maybe I just don't agree with them. Maybe at the end of the day, like that's what it comes down to. She's making her own decisions. I don't agree with them, and like they do have some negative outcomes for me. So it's just like,
Oh,
like
God.
I don't know what to do about that. But it's something we'll work through, I guess. And like I don't know. Unfortunately, slash fortunately, I don't. It's maybe more so unfortunate. It's just like I have ebbs and flows of being like wanting to deal with this problem because like the world presents you with plenty of problems. I have plenty of other things to keep busy with. Like
Yeah.
it's really easy just to like not worry about this problem, and like let it fester. But like that's not really solving anything. But at the same time, like kind of similar to me saying, the easiest place to solve her like grief and all is like at the beginning. Like every day that I don't solve it, it makes it feel less and less important to solve. And
Oh.
like, but like, and like less and less like the right time to solve. And then like, what
Mhm.
is the right time? And then
Mhm.
it becomes like really challenging. It's
Yeah.
like when am I going to like introduce this high variance event into my life of like
Mhm.
leaving it really upset and frustrated or like sad or whatever, or maybe happy. Like I don't know. It
Mhm.
could go, there it's a high variance event and it's like maybe I just want to watch Netflix. Yeah. Like tonight is not that night. This weekend is not that weekend, like,
Yeah.
and like kind of like always being in that space of like, I want to just like, watch Love is Blind and get in the group chat with Ellen or something.
We should add you to the group chat.
I have so many thoughts.
I haven't started watching this season yet.
We've only watched one episode. You're not too far behind. But yeah, anyways, it's just like, it's just one of those things where it's like this is a lot easier and simpler. And like after all the stresses of the week of the work week and of like dealing with like tantrums from Catherine or
Mm.
whatever, like the last thing I want to do is like a new tantrum.
Yeah.
Or like, a new like argument or whatever. And like I just like so yeah, it's just tough. Like I don't know. It just it's a thing.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like at the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, it feels like on some level it wouldn't be this this podcast, it wouldn't be an episode of this podcast if we didn't make some remark on like the broader systemic oppression piece. And I feel like there's maybe it like the way that patriarchy sort of shows up and like the thing that keeps popping into my mind is like you're the man of the family now, right? And not
Yeah,
only like your family with your mom but also your family with Rachel and Catherine, right? And so like having it's like this dual role and you're being split and the expectations from each family, it's like impossible to satisfy both. And so it's like, how do you, it feels like a really tough space to navigate. And then there's all this like expectation and pressure, but like really at the end of the day, your mom has to solve her own grief, right? Like you can't do that for her.
correct. I think it's also like the other like patriarchal thing too of like when my like grandmother's brother passed away.
Mm,
Um he felt like the patriarch of like the
mm,
broader family, and
mhm.
like there was no clear person to take that like void, right?
Yeah.
Like I kind of like thought to myself like, oh, it's gonna be me, like it's gonna skip a
Mm,
generation, right? There's like no one in the other generation who's gonna take this mantle. And
yeah.
like probably for the fact like it's sad to say, but there's very few men. Like it's like
Mm,
maybe not sad. It's just like a thing, right? So like that, like there might be 20 of those cousins, but they're like
mm.
three men, right?
Oh.
One of them's like not local, so it can't be him.
Oh.
So it's like, so it's just like, and like one of them like clearly doesn't want anything to do with that. Like I'm
Mm,
not, that drama is not my noise.
yeah.
And like I was like, oh, it'll be me. I'm gonna host Easter. I'm gonna like get the family
Mm,
together. I'm gonna like do these things. And then
mhm,
like you start to realize that like, oh, this is like unwounding in a way that like is unrepairable, and like
mhm.
cannot be brought back together. Also, maybe I'm not the right person for it because I can't look past certain things, and I'm like, some of these people kind of suck, like I would tell them that, So maybe I'm not the right person. Uh, but yeah, like you're right, like the gender norms, they do be there, and it's tough, like I think another thing that my pet dad passing that really like changed me,
Mm,
and like I've kind of realized it's a little bit of an impossible task, but not entirely impossible. And it kind of goes back to when we were talking about hobbies and a life well lived. Is like I've been so adamant of like I need to like create the structure in my life where like I can withstand like the worst possible outcome, right? Like
mhm,
if Rachel were to pass, like how would I handle this? Like, do I have a doomsday scenario plan? I have like I don't know, I do like
mm,
like I have like a several step plan of like how I would like figure this out, like and like I only think about these things because I've seen it, and I'm like, yeah, like it sucks. Like, and I'm over here like one of the reasons I try to maintain my hobbies and sense of self is I never really so absorbed in like Rachel's my partner or whatever as like this like core tenet of my being, which it still is. Like, and like
mm,
that's what I kind of realized. Like it's a little bit like impossible to avoid, but at the same time, like I think there are things that you can do to like at least have something to fall back on. Kind of going back to like listening to music and like I want to like I have this thing I can fall back on when like everything hits the fan that like hopefully can center me. And I have some things. I have ideas of what that would look like, of like how I could like pick myself back up. And this like absolutely awful, horrible. I do not want this to happen. Please go first, Rachel, or like please let me go first since I'm Rachel. Sorry, that's very selfish, but like like I don't want to have to figure this out. But like like if I had to, like I guess I
mm,
have, yeah, it just sucks. Like I don't know, like it changes you where you're like, okay, like I'm gonna think about these like disaster outcomes and like have a plan for it and like hope for the best. And maybe not everyone like, steps into their life trying to prepare for the worst outcomes. there's always like, I guess maybe, I don't know if first principles is the right term, but like
Mm,
if you like take care of yourself and you have a plan of like keeping your sense of self and like having
mm,
your hobbies, having your, what you're interested in outside of like maybe your marriage,
mm,
right?
mm,
Like as long as like it doesn't like hurt your marriage, I think that's like really positive. I like I
yeah,
hope that Rachel has similar things that like this is like when it makes her happy. These are the things that she does for herself, just for herself, and
yeah,
like and that keeps her happy. And then you can add on the beautiful thing of like a relationship and a marriage of like this is also another wonderful thing in my life that like brings me purpose and happiness and all that. And like and then similarly, like you keep the marriage good, and then you can like take care of your kid, right? That's a strong
yeah.
thing we both me and Rachel really believe in is like we need to make sure we're good so that we can be
Mhm,
good parents. Like if we're not
mm,
good, we probably won't be the best parents, right? So it's
mhm,
really like and classically you hear about this where like people prioritize the kids and not their own marriage, and I feel like
mm,
it's just backwards. Like
yeah,
the sustainable, the long term sustainable thing is to like focus on the marriage, and the kids will come naturally, right? Like the
mm,
kids will come. Like it's
yeah,
so important to like kind of notice like okay, like and in order for the marriage to maybe succeed, you need to have like sense of self too, because I
mm,
think like a lot of times when people get upset in marriages is when they lose themselves in it, right?
yeah,
um and I just don't want that for either of us. So like we're like really like cognizant of it, right? Like and we're aware of it and we work on it, and it's not easy, right? Like relationships are hard. There's definitely been moments where we're like fighting each other, and we've had the conversation with each other. It's like there's so many times I love and adore you, and other times I freaking hate you. and I was and I looked at her, I said same, and I was like, and I wouldn't have it any other way because like I think like it's important, like it's just not natural. You can't live with somebody and be around them all the time and not have arguments. Like they're going to happen, and like it's really
yeah,
how you respond to them, right? It's
yep,
how you respond. It's how you work through it. And like we're so much better at that than we were 5 years ago, right? And like
yeah,
and it's funny, like I like love her more now than on our wedding day, like and
mm,
like we're like a better couple than we were then. Like I don't think we were
yeah,
bad, but I think we're even better now. Like and
yeah,
it's just like one of those things. Like, but it wasn't like free. Like it was
yeah,
hard. Like you had to fight
yeah,
for it. But it's what we want, and we that's what we do.
mm,
And it's talent. It is challenging. It's every day. It's good though. And but yeah, I think we both focus on that, and it's been really helpful for us.
mm. I love that. Are there any other thoughts or bits of your journey you would like to share?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I shared a good bit. You can
Mm.
always find me on my blog.
Yeah, tell us how you would
Yeah.
like to stay connected with folks.
I'm on all the social media because I use it as a way of like what do you call it? Like having my tentacles out. It's like, oh, I don't unfriend people on Facebook. They're like an opportunity to be a friend of somebody I'd want to lurk on later on in life. Like um, like I just it's like an information gathering apparatus. Like they're gathering information on me. Damn it, I want to gather information on everybody else. um,
Yeah.
but I'm on the social medias. But like honestly, like my home on the internet these days is on my blog. I don't really post anymore. Like I haven't posted on Instagram for like a long, long time, and like that's fine. I just and I don't really post on like Twitter or Blue Sky or you know and I won't call it X, or like Mastodon. Like, it's like I have accounts. They all like get synchronized from my blog. I've been doing that more recently. I've been blogging a little bit more recently and just and
Mm.
writing there at Pulianas.com. And I don't know. That's just like that's my home on the internet. I don't need to be feeding these social media algorithms. Hey, oh, here's one last bit of advice. Here's a part of my healing journey. Like just like remove like stupid apps like Facebook. Facebook's like an awful app. Like it's like not even like a good user experience anymore. They just show you all these groups that you're not even a part of, and these like
Yeah.
posts that you're not even a part of. It's like not your friend's content. They want to sell you all these other things and ads and stuff. And it's like, no, I came here for photos from my friends. And like Instagram's kind of going on that way too. You have to like tap into the following tab just to see the people that you actually follow. And
Yeah.
like, and it's always engagement. Everyone's in stories. There's too many stories. And you know what I did? I was like,
Mm.
I collected all the like RSS and like news article things that I enjoy. I put them in one place and I
Mm.
tap in on that. And then I like look at like things I enjoy reading, things that I like, my curated things I know I enjoy, and nothing else can go in that feed. Like it's impossible. Like it's just like
Um,
there is no algorithm, right? And it's so much nicer. Like I like highly recommend Tapestry if you're on iOS. Like it's great. You can tie in like all these wonderful things, and then like I don't know. The algorithms are really like awful. And like it's just it's unfortunate. Like it's all for engagement and all for like being able to sell ads. And like sometimes the ads are good. Like Instagram has some really good ads. Like they show me stuff that I am actually like interested in. But at the same
Yeah.
time, like they're just more interested in like keeping me engaged on the app than like just showing me like good photos from my friends recently, which is like why I'm there. Like
Right.
I'm just not there for like all this other like I don't understand TikTok because like there's so many things I want to choose to watch, right? That I
Mhm.
don't have time for, or I choose to listen to, or I choose to whatever that I don't have time for.
Yeah.
I can't possibly imagine just being served like content from an algorithm that they think that I want to watch. It's like I know what I want to watch. I'm actually
Yeah.
really aware of a lot of things I love to watch. I don't need this help. Like
Yeah.
I just don't. like so like I have like no
Oh,
interest in that or reels. Like I like if my wife sends me a reel, I'll look at it because I am interested in her. And like
yeah.
similarly with a few friends, but like at the same time, I'm never gonna just look at them on my own. Like they're not gonna like if I ever share a reel with you, I assure you someone shared it with me first. I did not see it organically. And I think it's better that way.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, delete the apps.
Yeah, it's nice. Dig into IRL, man. Like
Yeah.
real life relationships are everything, and
Mm.
unfortunately, the loneliness epidemic's real.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for a lot of my friends that like keep me through these tough times or like any challenges in my life. And I behoove you to try to find those people too. And maybe it starts on the internet. I've met many people that are my like really closest friends now through the internet, including my wife. So you know,
Mm.
that's a
Mm.
good place to start. But it's important. Yeah, I think it's really important to touch grass and like do all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I will put the link to your blog in the show notes.
Go for it.
And any other last thoughts?
Thank you for the show, Ellen. I enjoy listening to it whenever it comes out.
I'm so glad.
I told you, I texted you. I said this is a good show.
Yeah.
Like it's like you hit the ground running right from the start. You've done a great job,
Mhm.
and I think it's like really beneficial for people. And then like I've even enjoyed like the episodes where I don't like necessarily like understand or relate to some of the things I'm hearing right now, but like
Yeah.
it's like a different perspective, and like I appreciate that too.
Mm.
Like I think that's like um it's great. Like I don't know what I'm gonna get any episode, but I know like Ellen's gonna be there, and it's gonna be a great journey. So like
Mm.
um yeah, we keep doing it. I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. Yay. Mm. Okay, I'm going to stop recording now.
Okay.
Hello, this is Outro Ellen. Thanks so much for listening today. As I said at the start of our episode today, this has been the last episode of season 1. And so if you'd like to stay in touch, head over to my Substack, Roar Find Your Fears, and subscribe there. That's the best way to keep in touch with everything that I get up to, future seasons of the podcast, and the next twists and turns on this journey that I'm on. The link to my Substack will be in the description. And back to your usual outro, Ellen, for the rest of the ways you can support the podcast. If you want to go above and beyond, please leave us a rating or a review on the platform where you're listening, or share this episode with a friend, frenemy, lover, family member, boss, colleague, or someone who needs it. I'm sending you the love and peace you need to be your best self today and every day. Audio hugs. Bye.